From the Hussman School of Journalism and Media at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics. This is Sports Extra.
A weekend featuring both UNC basketball teams in action ended with one game for the record books and one that the Tar Heel faithful will try to quickly forget. Good morning. I'm Jacob Karabatsis.
And I'm Isabella Geskos. Thanks for joining us. First, let's talk about the women's team's Sunday destruction of the Hurricanes. The Heels neutralized Miami with the largest margin win in the ACC since 2007. The Heels had an unbelievable game. Deja Kelly helped the team pull off a massive win, knocking down 4 consecutive threes, contributing to her 18-point outing. Kennedy Todd Williams chipped in an additional 16 points along with 5 rebounds. Alyssa Usby came through with 10 rebounds, 2 assists, and 11 points. Coach Courtney Banghart says her team's self-motivation led to the 47-point victory, 85-38.
And with good teams, you have to kind of inspire them. With great teams, they're kind of inner-driven, right? And this group is inner-driven. I don't do a lot of rah-rah and trying to inspire them. I can just coach them and show them where the weaknesses of the other team are and where our strengths are. And they have this inner competitiveness that allows us on game day to take what we think we need to do and to do it.
For more about the incredible beatdown, here's basketball analyst Jay Banzett live in the studio. Jay?
Bella, the Carolina women's basketball team did more than just handle its business Sunday afternoon. Coach Banghart's Tar Heels took down an ACC foe in historic and epic fashion while working toward a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Let's break it down. Carolina outscored the Hurricanes 28-2 in the first quarter. That's right, 2 points, downgrading them to a tropical depression that shot 1 of 17 from the field. We'll start in the first quarter. Carly Littlefield turns the ball over at midcourt. Very easily could give up on the play, but instead tracks it down, gets a block, prevents Miami from scoring. Great effort there by the graduate transfer. Another possession, this time a big, Alexandra Zelaya simply says, get that out of here, blocks it down to Deja Kelly. And as you can probably see for the rest of the afternoon, this is going to end up well for the Tar Heels. Littlefield misses the pull-up jumper, but another transfer, Eva Hodgson, wide open from the corner, splash for 3 from the Tar Heels. And then with 2:07 left in the second quarter, fellow Sports Extra anchor Deja Kelly went nuclear. On this baseball pass from Alyssa Usby, Kennedy Todd Williams gets it and sees Kelly wide open on the wing for her first of 4 threes, splash. Very next trip down the floor, 20 seconds later, Anya Poole gets a block. Littlefield finds Deja wide open on the wing, and I mean wide open. Let's look at how far away these defenders are, 10 feet here, 15 feet over there. And Kelly made that 3 too. It's just Deja Kelly made 4 threes in the last 2 minutes of the first half to really cement this game, and the Tar Heels blew out the Hurricanes in a way that we haven't seen since 2007.
Jay, are we going to have some deja vu on Thursday when they take on Pittsburgh?
Absolutely right. All 4 sophomore starters yesterday scored over 10 points, and Pittsburgh right now is in the bottom of the ACC. And our Heels are currently ranked 24th, maybe even a little higher coming into that game. So certainly we will look for the Tar Heels to get their signature win again against Pittsburgh on Thursday.
I couldn't agree more. We are going to pounce the Panthers. Hailing from a small, close-knit town of Amherst, New Hampshire, the UNC women's head basketball coach, Courtney Banghart, brings her hometown values to her budding program. I talked to her about community, aspirations, and of course, women's basketball.
The small town life, and one of the things I really love about it is that you quickly learn the power of community.
Amherst, New Hampshire is about an hour northwest of Boston. At Sauhegan High School, Courtney Banghart was a multi-sport athlete. She dabbled with tennis, but basketball and soccer were her true loves. And she won a combined 12 state championships in her 4 years.
Was a soccer All-American coming out of high school, but I loved hoop more. So I was the kid that would come out of, I set the state scoring record and did all these things in soccer and was our All-American. And then I would have my shin guards on and I would go out and shoot hoop. Right, I just love hoop.
As much as Banghart loved basketball, she never expected to work in sports, let alone become a legendary college coach.
And then so I went off to Dartmouth, in part because my parents didn't think that sports were a vocation.
Graduating from Dartmouth, Banghart was in pursuit to follow her hoop destiny. After spending more than a decade in the Ivy League, Banghart left with an overall record of 254 wins to 103 losses for UNC. There was something about living in a small town that appealed to her. Chapel Hill almost felt like Amherst.
It's such a community here, you know, whether it's at the grocery store, at the gym this morning or whatnot, like people care about you and they care about what you're doing. And I felt that way in Amherst too. If I was my senior project or if it was our state championship game, like people cared about me and what I was doing. And if you're in a big city, maybe that it's not, this isn't for everybody, right? But it's for me, you know, and it's for the kind of kids I want to recruit. I want them to be a part of something that they know matters and that people care.
Since the Coach Banghart era started in Chapel Hill, she has accumulated a 46-29 record, brought her team to the first round of the NCAA tournament, and currently her squad ranks number 24. Banghart strives to always show up for her players, not only on the court.
So I learned really by fire and by trial that like how you treat people matters, right? Because they're in your corner, right? And so I feel like that's helped me in coaching because I know my players would say, even though the work that we do is challenging, like I know how important our interpersonal relationship is and how I treat them matters.
Now in Banghart's third year, the Tar Heels have become a force in the ACC. Back home in New Hampshire, there's an overwhelming belief that Banghart will eventually bring a national championship back to Chapel Hill.
College Game Day visited the Dean Dome to promote the Duke versus UNC game on Saturday. The crowd was ecstatic with signs everywhere. Players Leaky Black and Brady Manick joined head coach Hubert Davis, who made his return to College Game Day. Even Sports Extra's own Ashlyn Ryan got involved with the fun. She shot a few half-court shots during the show. And per usual, Carolina fans hope for UNC to swag surf to get another home victory. To talk about that half-court shot, we go to Joshua Dolgoff in studio with Ashlyn. Josh and Ashlyn, take it away.
So Ashlyn, all eyes on you in the Dean Dome, standing at half court, 19 seconds to make the shot. What did you think about the whole experience? And can you detail how were you able to get that opportunity?
Yeah, it was such a surreal opportunity. My sister actually got it for me. They were walking around in line asking for girls that played basketball. So I got to try out in the practice gym, and I was the one that eventually got it.
And when you were down on the court, what was going through your mind? What was your strategy heading into the 19 seconds?
Yeah, so obviously I was a little bit nervous, but also excited. I was telling myself not to watch the shot, just shoot the ball, pick up the next one. Yeah.
And then what would you have done differently? Obviously, we saw a couple of close attempts. That one hit the rim. And then your last shot that we'll see coming up, just barely short, and it was right on target. So what would you have changed?
I definitely would have started at the back of the rack, would have given myself a little running start for my first shot. But overall, it was a great experience, and I think I did good given the circumstances. So.
Yeah, well, it was super fun to watch from the second row in the Dean Dome, and College Game Day was just a fantastic experience coming from a Tar Heel fan. Back to you guys.
On analysis, like a good neighbor, Joshua Dolgoff and Ashlyn Ryan are there. Listen, no cap, the men's basketball team was hoping for better luck than Ashlyn had, as the Dean Dome welcomed Coach K one final time on Saturday. Going into the game, the question on every Tar Heel's mind was who can stop Paolo Banchero? And the answer early on was simply nobody, as he scored 5 of the Blue Devils' first 8 points. Brady Manick tried to keep the Heels alive, scoring 3 of his 21 points on this huge bucket. Watch as the big man slashes down the lane to throw down this one-handed hammer and keep the momentum rolling. Clutch defense from Armando Baycott and Leaky Black held Duke in check near the end of the first half, turning a stop into a score on this fast break opportunity, helping Carolina to come back and make it close going into the half. But Duke freshman A.J. Griffin had other ideas and cut off any thought of a Tar Heel comeback. Duke took an easy 20-point win in an embarrassing night for the guys in light blue.
You know, today's game, their guards and their pressure bothered us to the point that, you know, we didn't play our best game.
A tough day in Chapel Hill is better than a good day anywhere else, especially in Durham. For UNC students, it was even better because Coach K will never step foot in the Smith Center again.
Honestly, it was a really disappointing loss. My dad came in from New York, so I was really looking forward to storming Franklin Street with him and spending time in the Dean Dome with him and cheering for the Tar Heels. But I think it was just a really upsetting end result, and I don't think the crowd was as into it as they usually are.
I'm a freshman this year, so I'm just coming in. Like, I'm from California and never really knew about the Duke-UNC rivalry before, but I always knew it was a big deal, and I had pretty high expectations for the entire game. And I was watching it with some of my friends, and right when we saw it start going downhill, we knew it was probably not going to be good. And it was very disappointing, and I think the energy after the game was just really negative, and I think it could have been a lot better day, but things happen, and we'll try again next year.
This was my first opportunity getting to be in the Dean Dome for the UNC Duke game as a college student, so I was really excited, but unfortunately left pretty disappointed. I wish at least the game was close or that we had been ahead at one point. I think that's the hardest part, but I'm really looking forward to March and hope we can play better then.
Although the Heels couldn't get it done, Brady Manick made history by tying Kenny Williams and his coach, Hubert Davis, for most three-pointers made in a game against Duke with 6.
The Carolina basketball family is reconnecting during the 2022 NBA All-Star Weekend. UNC basketball legend and NBA Rising Stars coach James Worthy has chosen former UNC point guard Cole Anthony to compete for Team Worthy. Anthony is currently enjoying a breakout sophomore season, averaging 17.9 points, 6 rebounds, and 6.1 assists for the Orlando Magic. In a competition full of great young talent, Worthy will be hoping Anthony continues his excellent play for his temporary coach. As Cole Anthony looks towards Rising Stars, he and another former Tar Heel continue to shine in the NBA. Anthony continued his impressive sophomore campaign for the Orlando Magic on Saturday, putting up 22 points along with 6 rebounds and 5 assists against the Memphis Grizzlies. And Harrison Barnes added another 20-point game to his resume, this time scoring 24 points, grabbing 9 boards, and dishing out 5 assists to win against the Thunder. With the NBA trade deadline approaching, the struggling Kings could be a seller, and Barnes could be wearing a different jersey next week.
Against Pitt on Friday night, the UNC wrestling team was looking for a perfect 6-0 record at home, which would mark the first time that UNC has been undefeated in Carmichael Arena since the 2001-2002 season. To kick off the momentous match, junior Joe Heilman secured a 3-2 decision with a key comeback during the third period. Senior Zach Sherman continued the momentum with a solid 8-2 decision. This monster takedown by Gavin Kane brought fans to their feet. The first year picked up the team's slack with a dominant match, cementing the Heels' lead with a huge 17-8 major decision. Senior Brandon Whitman closed the match with a 4-3 decision in the heavyweight class, putting the last few points on the board for a final score of 19-12. The team will be back in action on Friday as the Heels travel to Blacksburg to compete against the Hokies. After competing in a male-dominant sport for nearly 6 years, first-year Marisol Nugent is no stranger to being the first. Reporter Emily Schmidt has her story.
In April of 2021, Nugent's trailblazing status reached new heights as she became the first woman ever listed on an ACC varsity wrestling roster. Having been denied equal opportunity for years, Nugent was excited to become a D1 student athlete at UNC.
No other female wrestler in the country really gets to do what I do, to have like these academic and athletic resources at their disposal every day. So it's been pretty much the opportunity of a lifetime.
Coaches Tony Ramos and Coleman Scott have worked hard to make Nugent feel at home in Chapel Hill.
There have been so many coaches in my life that I don't know, have like kind of like looked at my presence and have been like, okay, like you being here is enough. Like this is a privilege for you to be here. The coaches here, like they just allocate so much time to me that I don't want to say they don't have to, but like no one else has really invested in me the way that these coaches have.
Having pushed past obstacle after obstacle, consistently being the only girl in the practice room, Nugent recognizes her status as a pioneer, which has encouraged her younger sister Danny, who is a nationally ranked high school wrestler.
And it's not necessarily that it just benefits her, but for me, like she's always been like a representation of like a new wave of younger female wrestlers, and she kind of gets to like lead that pack.
Since 2018, 25 states have sanctioned girls wrestling championships. Many speculate that the North Carolina High School Athletics Association will soon follow suit. 3 up-and-coming female wrestlers from Havelock High School in Eastern North Carolina, Kennedy Brantley, Natalie Titus, and Ella Horner, are motivated by Nugent.
Honestly, it's super inspiring to know that girls can do that kind of stuff.
I can look to them and be like, I want to be like you. And then seeing women like Marisol be where she's at, it's kind of giving you that perspective at me in a couple of years.
I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
Be sure to keep tabs on women's wrestling. Who knows? Maybe in a few years, we'll have another team to report on here at Sports Extra.
While Nugent looks to dominate on the mat, the women's tennis team continues to dominate on the court. The number 2 Heels traveled to number 20 Michigan on Saturday, winning 5-2. The Heels won the double point in 4 of 6 single matches. Carson Tangalik continued her great play with a 6-3, 6-3 win. Fiona Crawley won 6-4, 6-2, while Elizabeth Scotty sealed the team victory with a come-from-behind 3-set win. Riley Tran added the final point. The 2-time defending ITA national team indoor champions head to Madison, Wisconsin this weekend, hoping for a three-peat.
In track, 2 Tar Heel men competed in the Camel City Invitational this weekend, coming in hot with a school record and top rankings in program history. Freshman Parker Wolf set the school record in the 3,000 meter. Wolf ran a blazing 7 minutes and 52 seconds, breaking a school record that stood for 34 years. The graduate student, Alex Osberg, ran fast enough to claim the 3rd best time in program history for the event. Athletes have powerful motivations that go well beyond sports, and track star CJ Sadler is proof of that. Marsalis Anderson has more.
UNC sprinter and hurdler CJ Sadler keeps nothing back when talking about his faith.
All of my success, I grant to him. Like it's nothing that I can do without him.
Sadler believes his goals and his faith go hand in hand. He says they are what drive his performance on the track every season.
Like my goals are just like to have a really strong and personal relationship with Christ, and then what I'm saying, have that affect track and like have a very strong season.
This rule doesn't only apply to his athletic career, but his entire life.
I try and show Christ through myself and my actions and how I care for myself and how I speak and how I walk, talk, all that stuff.
And it's not just for the best parts of it, he says.
Instead of getting extremely stressed about things, I just give all the stress and things like that to God, and then he just finds a way to work it out for me, you know what I mean?
Sadler hopes his message inspires others around him to feel empowered through faith and assures that his performance on the track means nothing without his faith. I'm Marsalis Anderson reporting.
The UNC men's golf team put together a solid string of performances this weekend in Hawaii. This was the first time on the course since October for the Heels, behind the great play of David Ford at 14 and under and Ryan Burnett, who shot 6 under. The Heels placed 6th in the Amir Ari Invitational.
Former UNC quarterback Sam Howell continues to improve his draft stock. Playing for the American team, Howell put in a strong performance at the Reese Senior Bowl on Saturday, completing 6 of 9 passes for 67 yards and rushing for another 29 yards and a touchdown. Both CBS Sports and Sports Illustrated mentioned Howell as a standout performer in the game. Considered by many to be a first-round NFL draft pick, Howell has many Heels fans interested to see where he may get drafted in April.
On Sunday, the Carolina fencing teams wrapped up Northwestern duels. The men led by Jared Cohen came away with the record of 5-0 on the day and 8-2 for the weekend. The women's team led by Sarah Falwell emerged with a 3-3 record for the day and a 9-4 record for the weekend. The Heels will be back in action on Saturday at Duke.
The Carolina gymnastics team went up against number 9 Alabama and number 17 Western Michigan on Friday night in Tuscaloosa. Freshman Julia Noer executed a flawless round-off 1.5 dismount from the beam and earned a 9.9 for that event. Strong performances from Elizabeth Colton on beam and Bree Greenlow on floor were exactly what the Heels needed to come in second with a season's best road score. Saturday, Carolina will host Temple University at Carmichael Arena.
The UNC baseball team is starting the season and projected to finish 5th in the ACC's Coastal Division. The team finished in 2021 season with a 28-27 overall and 4th in the Coastal Division. This year's squad includes 12 freshmen who can make an immediate impact. Scott Forbes is coming into his second season as the head coach. The Tar Heels take the mound on Friday, February 18th in Boshamer Stadium.
50 National Players of the Year, 40 individual national champions, and 39 national championship teams. That's the dominance of women's sports here at Carolina. Celebrating the legacy of our 15 women's teams on National Girls and Women in Sports Day, fans and young Tar Heels gathered to participate alongside their idols. Karen Shelton and her field hockey team put on a clinic for the kids. Women's lacrosse, soccer, track, and gymnastics did the same at their stations. Legendary basketball coach Dean Smith once said, "This is a women's soccer school. We're just trying to keep up with them." 24 years later, and Smith's quote requires some tweaking. UNC isn't just a women's soccer school. Carolina is now a women's sports school.
To end the show, let's talk about those natty champs. The UNC field hockey team showed out this weekend with some new bling. The Heels have finally received their 2020 national title rings. 8 months after defeating Michigan in overtime at Karen Shelton Stadium, not only did the women win their 9th national championship, but finished with a stunning record of 19-1, with Erin Matson being the leading scorer in the nation. Last year, the Heels claimed the ACC title for the 5th straight year. So Jacob, you know the saying, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it?
Yes, I do know the saying, and our natty champs did just that. Speaking of rings, I have a proposal for the student body. Make your way down to Carmichael Arena and support our 18-4 women's basketball team. They have been dominating.
I couldn't agree more, and it's free admission. We better see you all there on Thursday to support our team. And that does it for this edition of Sports Extra.
We'll be back Friday with a preview of another huge weekend in Carolina athletics.